Hey guys, okay, this is the video lesson for our color mixing chart, which is, let me show you an example of that, which I will have this uploaded. This is the first 8 that are on this paper, so don't worry about, oh my gosh, this is a lot of paint, or a lot of painting, mixing, and all of that. Don't worry about all of that, because once you understand the concept, it's just a matter of, okay, I need to do cool red with cool blue, and then it'll become really easy. At first it may be a little frustrating getting the color mixing down, but once you have it, it's going to go really, really fast. So don't freak out about that. There are more than just 8. There's actually a total of 23 of these different color combinations. So don't freak out about that there's 23. You're going to have plenty of time to do this. So but this is an example which I will upload, and you'll be able to see that. You'll also be able to see this. Actually, you won't be able to see the whole chart until you're completed, and then I'll send you the 8 that you're supposed to do. But these are the 8 for page 1, or for one of your papers. The first one's going to be cool yellow with cool red. I have to approve that for you to be able to go on to the second one. And then the second one's going to be cool yellow and cool blue, and I'll explain about that in just a minute. The first color that is listed on each one of these is going to be the color that you paint down first on the paper. So, and then the second color is going to be the color that you do the dots with. Don't worry about, I know you don't understand what I'm talking about with the dots. I'm about to explain that, so don't panic about that part. I'm going to put this aside for just a second. You can do your practice on your color wheel chart. Remember, we folded it in half, so you have the back, which is what we've done practice on for other students in other classes. I didn't do mine on the middle here because, as you can see, I did some other samples for other students in class for the color wheel, so that's why I did the back, but I did a sample for each class explaining how to do it. So this is what we're going to do today. We're just going to do one of these. I'm going to go through, and then I'm going to do another video and show you the second one, but I wanted you to see what you put that on, your practice on. You can use this as practice throughout this project. Like, let's say you get to, for instance, number 8 here, and you're like, I'm unsure about this. Is this what it's supposed to look like? I don't know. You can practice on your practice sheet, okay? So use your color wheel on the inside of it, or on the back side of it to do your practice. I got another sheet of paper here for us to work with. You're going to need your paint palette that you came and got paint here at the school, or you purchased paint. So on the left-hand side of my palette here, it is warm yellow, warm blue, and warm red. On the right-hand side of my palette, I spaced them out a little bit more, but I've got cool red, cool blue, and cool yellow. That's the cool red and the cool yellow is what we're going to work with first. So I'm going to put this aside for, you're also going to need a paper towel, which I messed up on already. I actually thought I was doing a video just a minute ago, and apparently I just took a picture, so I'm redoing my video here. You're going to need a cup of water, and then you're going to need I'm going to show you, I'm going to do the pinch method here to get the paintbrushes dry, because if they're wet, it makes the water really, it makes the paint really thin, and then it doesn't work as well. So if you use the pinch method to get the paintbrushes dry, they get real dry like that. So I'm going to put the paper towel aside for now, but I want you to get a flat brush that's about this size, and I also want you to get what's called a round brush, but it has a point to it. It can be this size or a little bit smaller, preferably not larger than this one, because it's harder to make the dots the right size otherwise, which I'm going to explain in a minute, so don't worry about what I'm talking about with that. So water, paper towels, your paint palette, and your paper. One other side note, don't ever put wet paint, any of this wet paint, down your sink drains. It will, because it has a plastic binder, it's acrylic paint, so it has a plastic binder, and it will stop up your drains, and your parents will end up having to have a plumber come out and unclog them. So if you ever have a paint color you need to get rid of, just get a paper towel, scoop it out. Then you can scrub in the sink with, with some Dawn soap or something like that. Preferably don't use the scrubbers that you scrub dishes with, because this is paint and you don't want that on your dishes. So, or you could just completely let it dry and then peel out whatever dries. You can leave it out in the sun to let the paint dry, and then you just peel it out like that. Okay, so the very first color on my color mixing chart is Cool Yellow, which is this color, so that's my base color. And then we're gonna put Cool Red on top of that. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm going to load my flat paintbrush with Cool Yellow paint, okay? Then I'm going to paint 9 swatches down my paper. I don't want to get really big because when I put the dots in there in just a minute, it can get really big when you go to mix it. So try to keep it on the smaller side in the beginning. And then as you mix it, it'll gradually grow, which is fine. You just don't want them much bigger than a quarter when you mix them. So let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we have 9. Okay. Now I'm going back over them because I'm noticing you can tell when this acrylic paint is dry. The paint has a dull finish to it when it's drying or is dry already. When it is dull like that, you can't do anything else to it, okay? You can't add water to it. It's not going to work. That's not how acrylic paint works. This is not like watercolor, so you cannot add water to it and make it come alive, okay? Okay, I'm not going to rinse my yellow brush out. I am going to drag my paintbrush on the edge of the yellow, and I'm gonna take the extra yellow off of that, but I'm just gonna set it down to the side. And then I'm going to load up my pointed brush or my round brush with the Cool Red. Remember, the Cool Red is the darker one. So I'm gonna put enough paint on there. I'm gonna leave this swatch blank. I'm gonna add a dot to this. Now, every one that you put afterwards is gonna have to have the same size dot and the same amount of paint. So, if I put a dot down and it doesn't have the same amount of paint, then I need to go back just like I did there and add more to it. You also add another dot to the next one down. So instead of 1 dot, I have 2 dots there. The next one I'm gonna have 3 dots. Some of my students, we've already started this project with my in-person students. We started this week, today's the 26th, so we started Monday. Some of my students like to draw it like they do, like it's on dice. That's fine. Whatever helps you to get the right amount of dots. You just have to make sure that they're the right size and the right amount of paint. Okay, I've got 5, I've got 6 here. This one doesn't have a lot on it. Okay, so I've got a total of 8 dots in the last one. I am going to take off the extra red paint there because it doesn't need to sit on the paintbrush. I'm going to leave this to the side. Do not mix with the red brush. Pick your yellow brush back up that I didn't clean. Don't clean it. Leave the yellow in there. And then I'm going to, in a circular motion, mix. Okay? After I've mixed that one, I'm going to go to the next one. Now, as I'm going, if I notice, because we are trying to go from light to dark, if I notice that, hey, this one is the same color as that one, you cannot go backwards and mix with this brush, okay? You have to just keep going until you get to the end, because the paint will dry really fast on you, and you'll probably figure that out really quick, but the paint will dry really fast, and then there you are, you got to start over again, basically, okay? I'm going to show you what to do if that situation happens and one of them looks the same or several of them look the same. I'll show you what to do, okay? Okay, so as you look at this, it should go from light to dark, okay? Now, if you're looking at mine right now, it looks to me like this one may be slightly darker than this one. These two actually look to be, maybe this one, these 3 look to be the same color, and then we have a darker one. What we can do, I'm going to leave this on the paintbrush for right now, but I'm going to pick my red brush up. I'm going to load it up again, and I'm going to put a dot, another dot, and I might put an extra one because remember those three are the same colors. So I'm gonna put an extra smaller one. I'm gonna put 3 dots here, and then I'm gonna put 3 dots here, okay? Now the reason I didn't put 4 dots there is because that one was already darker, okay? Now, put that paintbrush back down. I am going to have to wipe off the red paint because remember the last one I mixed was that one. So if I go up here, I'm adding all of that red back in there, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to wipe that off on my brush. I'm not cleaning it out with the water, and I'll tell you why you don't clean it off with the water in just a second. But I'm going to go back to this one and I'm going to mix it. Now if you work too slow with this paint, it's going to dry, and you're going to get frustrated. So you got to work somewhat fast, but not sloppy. Okay, so now we see a definite progression from light to dark. Now the reason sometimes why, like we said, these 3 ended up being the same color is because I noticed as I was mixing these, as I was going down, there was a lot more yellow paint on these 3 than there was on these up here. So if you put down this about the same amount of yellow paint on each swatch and then the same size dot and quantity of paint on the rest of them, you should easily have a light to dark scenario. Now this is not something that you've ever done, so this might be a new concept for you. Some people just grasp it right away and they got it on the first try. And there's nothing wrong with that, but some people struggle with it. I had a student last year, they did an entire page like this, 2 of them full of those samples. So don't feel bad if you have a bunch of practice ones and you have to do that. I will say, if you do run out of room on your color wheel paper on the outside and on the inside, if you have some sketchbook paper, practice on that. Don't use your other 2 big pieces of paper like this that we have. I should have given you either 2 or 3 of these. Don't use all of these to practice on. These are mostly your final art pieces, but use your sketchbook notebook paper that you can do that with to do it. So, okay, so I'm gonna rinse my paintbrushes out. Remember using the pinch method to tell if it has, to tell if all the paint is out. I'm kind of tapping and twisting all at the same time in my cup. If your water gets really dark and you can't see through it, you probably need to clean your water out. So now I'm gonna pinch both of my paintbrushes here. And there is no paint on that paper towel color at all, so it's clean and ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to stop this video. The next video I'm going to do the cool yellow with cool blue so I can show you that one, and I'm going to go a little bit faster and probably not talk as much, but I want you to see how I do it as I go. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. If we need to do a Zoom call so we can do that, or if we need to schedule a time on Friday or after school to go over this in person, I can certainly do that. Okay.